and represents your interests. And as I say, it sounds silly to have to say that, but unfortunately, it's become a necessity. I've never heard a representative say that I'm really not sold on this bill, but my constituents feel so strongly about this that I'm going to vote for it because of that. We hear the converse of that all the time. My constituents, I know more than them. Trust me, it's for their best interest. It's for their own good. They just don't realize that. We need to get back to representative government. The way we do that is through communication. As a physician, that's what I do. I can't treat you and make you better if I don't know what's wrong with you. And it was by asking you, what's wrong with you? How are you feeling today? That is such a simple concept, but that is what has to happen. That's what's been sorely lacking in our representative form of government. Diagnose and treat. That's what I do as a doctor. I get facts, I get information, I get input from you, from the patients. And then we prescribe therapy. But we don't just forget about you then, put you off in a hallway, and that's the end of it. No, we actually see if you're getting better. And that's what we're not doing with the government. We prescribe treatment, we create departments, agencies. We do these things, and we forget about them. 20 years later, we find out, hey, this thing's costing us $100 billion. And it's really not doing anything. Department of Education, Department of Energy. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. These things that were created and are just not doing the job because nobody is monitoring the patient. All we know is the patient's getting sicker and sicker, but our treatment's not doing anything about it. As far as communication, as much as I would love to be able to sit and talk with all 700,000 people in the districts one-on-one, I would love that because to me that's the best part of this job is getting the chance to visit with you all. From a practical standpoint, not likely to happen. So how do we get from Congress up here to the grassroots down here? You can fire off your letters, you can send faxes, you can send emails, you can call me directly, everything else. That's great, but we need some structure, and we have the structure. Our district is broken down into precincts. We have precinct committeemen. And thank you all who are here for serving. But that is an elected position. That is part of a representative form of government, and that needs to be utilized to really improve our communication process. Thank you.
I'm Keith Alexander. I'm the Vice Chairman of the Graham County Republican Party. We had a few questions regarding term limits, and some of you have addressed those to some degree. But please tell us the reasons why you support or oppose term limits, and if you support them, what your term limits for members of Congress would be.
First up will be candidate A. You have up to a minute to gather lots.
This is an easy one. This is an easy one for me. In 1992, I was on the committee that put Proposition 107 on the ballot that established term limits here in the state of Arizona, and I still believe in them today. I do believe in citizen legislators. I do believe that folks ought to go serve, whether in the state legislature or in Congress, do their best, and then come home and live under those laws. How many times do we see members of Congress pass laws that exempt themselves? That they have to have, small businesses have to comply with things like OSHA regulations and EEOC regulations that members of Congress and their own staffs don't have to comply with. So I believe in term limits. I think a good number is probably about 8, but I guess it depends upon circumstances and stuff. Probably about 8 years. That's what we established in Arizona. Seems to work well here. I think that's a good thing. Because I'll give you a couple quick examples of things that Congress does because they are so out of touch. There are people that have never signed the front of the paycheck, only the back of the paycheck, serving in Congress, and they stay there for so long, they're so out of touch. Here in Arizona, a small business has suffered under OSHA for little tiny stuff. The OSHA guys have to come in, they got to write them up for something and fine them and everything. One of my small business organizations took members of Congress in tow, and we marched into OSHA's office, and we did one of those surprise inspections on them that they do on small businesses back home. And guess what? They flunked. This is the type of thing that when you're in touch, when you know how these laws really impact you at home, when you're a small business owner and you don't stay there too long, you know what it's like to live under those laws. That's why you've got to get people that won't stay that long. They've got to stay in touch here. And so I absolutely have supported term limits ever since I helped get them established here in 1992. Now, we'll probably have to start with passing laws limiting committee chairmanships. That's a good start in Congress, to where we can at least accomplish that before we get a constitutional amendment to establish term limits in Congress.